A phone call away.
Oh, no. His name is Timothy.
Is it too late?
Hi, Tim. I believe I'm your birth mother.
This is my daughter. Please bring her back.
12-year-old Polly Klass was having a slumber party.
And they opened the door, and he was standing there with this knife.
Then he took our baby away.
Now a stunned California town has come together, and a Hollywood star has come home to help find Polly.
Hello, I'm Winona Ryder, and recently in my hometown of Petaluma, California, Polly Hannah Klass was kidnapped at knife point from her home.
Please don't harm our baby. We love her very much.
Dan Patterson says his boss went too far.
I had borrowed a tape measure, but she said, well, there's something else that can be measured.
You're painting a picture of a sexual playroom.
Asking me to lick things off her face.
So he went to court.
Did anybody in that jury room ever say this guy is a liar?
No.
So why is he out of a job? If you thought the odds were against Rocky, wait till you meet Rudy.
I'm here to play football for the Irish.
Tonight, the real story behind Hollywood's newest hero.
A light lit up in my brain. Rudy, go for it. Don't worry about what other people think.
Those stories tonight on Eye to Eye.
It's Eye to Eye with Connie Chung, with correspondents Bernard Goldberg, Edie Magnus, Russ Mitchell, and Roberta Baskin.
Good evening. Mention adoption and everyone has an opinion. What are the rights of the birth parents, of adoptive parents, and of course the children themselves? Well, sometimes those rights collide when a parent or a child insists on unraveling what had been a family secret. You've heard a lot about adopted children searching for their birth parents, but now the children aren't the only ones looking. Edie Magnus has more. Edie?
Connie, unlocking the door to the past is hard enough. Then you have to wonder what you'll find there. The woman you're about to meet gave us extraordinary access to a dramatic search for the son she gave up nearly 20 years ago.
I knew the day that I gave him up for adoption that I would eventually be looking for him.
Cynthia Quill was 19 years old when she gave up the boy who would be her only child.
I feel that once I complete the search, no matter what the outcome, it will have come full circle, and that I can really go on with my life.
Now, the years of wondering are about to end. In the language of the 90s, she's known as a birth mom, the biological mother of a child placed for adoption.
I started on February 24th, 1993.
And for 7 months, we joined Cynthia through a remarkable journey to find her natural son.
That was a letter to the state office of registrar, seeing if they could help me.
What did they tell you?
Nothing. They told me if I had his name and his parents' name, then they could send me a copy of his birth record.
That sounds simple enough, but it's not. Cynthia only vaguely remembered the woman who took her child from the hospital and became his mother, and the adoption papers containing the couple's name are sealed. Her only hope? A painstaking search of old records. She's hired someone to do it. Now she waits.
I'll get a phone call and they're going to give me a name.
And that will be the adoptive name of your son.
Right.
In 1974, Cindy was a nice girl from a small town with a big secret. Family pressure coupled with her own shame left her little choice about what to do with the child she was carrying.
Could you have raised him in poverty? I would have been a welfare mother.
She's married now, lives in California, and tutors students in junior high. She's also since had an emergency hysterectomy, so there will be no more children.
It's so difficult knowing that there's a person out there that's part of my body.
Over the months that she searched for him, Cynthia kept a private video diary of the experience at our request.
I never even held my son.
When you call him your son,
you feel like he's your son? He's my birth son. I gave birth to him. His adoptive parents are his parents. I have no intention of trying to take him away from them. What if this boy doesn't want to be found? Then I have to let it go.
During one of our visits, that call Cynthia was waiting for comes through.
I have your information. Oh, no. Oh, my God. I can't believe it.
Do you have paper and pencil?
Yes, I do.
His name is Timothy, C as in Charles.
Yeah.
Ivans, I-V-A-N-S.
Oh, my son's, his name's Timothy. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
My name is Peggy, and I'm a birth mother. My name is Audrey. I'm a birth mother. My name is Nina, and I'm a birth mother.
It's estimated that 50,000 birth mothers are searching throughout America each day.
It's the greatest gift I ever got to have my daughter back.
Most search and support groups suggest women wait until a child is 18. And what they all dream about is the kind of reunion these two women had. 2 years ago, at 29, Dory picked up the phone to hear her birth mother, Nina.
I do remember she said to me, "Can I ask you what your birthday is?" And I said December 9th, 1961, and I burst into tears because I knew immediately that it was her.
I have not been back here since the day.
We met them in Washington, D.C., at the former maternity home where Nina stayed 31 years ago.
I can remember thinking as I was leaving that I was 19 years old and I have my whole life ahead of me, and never again would I hurt that badly. And I was right. Nothing's ever hurt that way.
I never felt connected, and I feel like, you know, this is where it begins. Separated from your mother.
We're not separated now.
Who is your mother?
My mother is my mother.
And Nina?
She's somebody that I love and somebody that I will know for all my life.
His father's name is Charles Andrew Ivans.
2 weeks after receiving her birth son's adoptive name, Cynthia receives his amended birth certificate, the key that will open many doors.
I'm so happy. Certificate of live birth with the California seal. It's a little disheartening to see someone else's name on here.
Those that have the need to make this search are doing it to satisfy their needs without giving any thought of what the impact might be on the child.
Adoption attorney Aaron Britvan, who's also adopted a child himself, feels birth mothers have no right to this information.
The point is they made a conscious decision when they placed the child. They cannot now willy-nilly just change their mind and say, well, now I feel I want to find the person, and damn be anyone to say don't have that right.
But rights or no, we live in an information age, and birth mothers have become quite sophisticated at tapping into it. These discs, for instance, they contain every listed phone number in the United States. You can buy them. In many states, you can purchase birth indexes, marriage records, property records through your computer. It's public information, available for a price. And if that doesn't work, there's one more option.
If someone wants to pay the price,
you can break the law. This private investigator says he's been hired by birth mothers to bribe employees in Social Security offices, courthouses, and adoption agencies for information about a child.
Well, generally always, I would estimate at least 90% of the time, find the information that the birth mother is wanting.
For people who are still in California, it should be fairly easy.
Cynthia and volunteers from her support group say they're just using what's legally available. Armed with the amended birth certificate identifying Tim's adoptive father, they fax a letter to a database company for possible phone numbers and addresses.
And we may come up with 15 Charles Ivans.
I just can't contain myself.
He has an unlisted number. It may not come back, but it says he was a minister. Most of them are there for people, so I'm sure his number will be listed.
So now what do we do?
Now we wait.
Wait. What right do you have to do this? What crime did I commit? giving my son up for adoption.
You made a deal 19 years ago. You gave him up. You gave him to another family who agreed to love him and take care of him.
That's true. And I've let my son grow up with his family without bothering him or contacting him. Well, they have a Charles Ivan in Atlantic Avenue in Dayton and a Charles A. Ivans in California, Oceanside.
With a stack of microfiche, they check property records.
Ivans, Charles and Melody, that's on Moody 3572.
Then voter registration records to make sure the ages match up.
49, yeah, he'll be 49 in December. Oceanside for Charles A. or Melody J. Ivans, I-V-A-N-S. Well, I got a phone number.
The ease with which all of this has just happened, and the fact that you may well have found the adoptive parents of this boy, is this a typical search?
Yes.
They've left a paper trail.
I think my heart's beating faster than that clock.
So you ready to call?
It's getting scarier.
Why don't you just say that this is a very, very difficult phone call for you to be making?
5 months after her search began, Cynthia telephones her birth son.
I believe I'm your birth mother, and I've been searching for you for a long time. You think it's kind of neat? That's fantastic. Oh, God. Oh, I found him. And he's receptive. What more can I ask for? It's the greatest joy of my life till I get to meet him or get pictures of him.
It's kind of scary.
In San Diego, 19-year-old Timothy Ivans is actually a lot more hesitant about this strange call out of the blue than he lets on. Tim's a college sophomore, one of 4 children, very devoted to his family, his music, and his church. He does agree to meet Cynthia, but as the day approaches, their hopes and expectations are very, very different.
It's a lot to deal with. It's hard not wanting anything to change at home.
I know this has been a big surprise and shock to him, but I'm still on cloud 9. It feels wonderful. I've called all my relatives.
I don't know what I feel. And, you know, it's, again, this is all for her. It's not my gig. I'm not here to satisfy any curiosity of my own. I have no real desire to know her or meet her or anything. I just pray that you'll just be a comfort to me and help me to get through to tonight. You know.
The day of the reunion arrives.
This is it, hon.
Cynthia and her husband Brian meet Tim and his dad.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'll do the introductions.
Cynthia.
Oh, it was great.
Nice meeting you.
It was real exciting. A little awkward.
This is my son's birth mother. First time they have seen each other, period.
I think it went as well as could have been expected.
That's pretty special.
Yeah. I had hoped for a little bit more of a warmer reception from Tim. 7.5 months you were skiing with me.
That's where I got my good sense of balance.
I would have loved a hug, but it just wasn't there for him.
No, it wasn't. Cynthia kept reaching out, but Tim kept his distance. It was, in her words, bittersweet.
Physically, he has my face. He's got my nose, my smile, my eyes, my cheeks.
It was not the reunion she'd had in her mind.
But his one question was, how did you get that birth certificate?
A risk that any birth mother takes when she comes uninvited into a child's life.
I couldn't leave without giving him a hug. I'd never been able to do that before, and I think he was a little uncomfortable, but I gave him a hug because I wanted to, and because I love him, and I always will. I asked him to open his heart and find a place for me, but it does remain a mystery of whether that will happen or not.
They have no plans to meet again.
is so sad. I mean, because I can understand both sides, can't you?
Yeah, and it's especially tough when it involves a son. Daughters, it seems, are much more often receptive toward the sudden appearance of their birth mothers, as you saw with Dory and Nina. What the search and support groups often tell these women is that sons come around when they're older, and of course, Connie Cynthia is not giving up hope.
Thank you, Edie. In a moment, 12-year-old Polly Klaas was having a slumber party when suddenly an intruder broke in.
He said he wanted valuables. He took the most valuable thing there was.
And later, Dan Patterson says his female boss liked to kid around, but he told a jury it was no laughing matter.
Sophisticated engineering has made Lincoln Continental a surprisingly smart luxury sedan. In fact, it even knows a lot about you. It knows how long your legs are. It knows the sound of your voice.
Call Tom.
Why, with its load-leveling suspension, Continental even knows exactly how much you weigh. But don't worry, it also knows how to stay quiet.
Hi, this has to be in LA tomorrow.
No problem, sir.
Express mail from the Postal Service. You're never left in the dark.
Yes, your package is in LA and will be delivered.
Morning. From just $9.95, we track, we trace, we deliver for you.
Question. If your cold pill's so good, how come your symptoms keep coming back? Because your pill doesn't work 24 hours. Introducing Epidac 24, the first cold tablet so effective just one works 24 hours. Look, Sudafed drops off after 6 hours. Tavist after 12. So your symptoms keep coming back. But just one Epidac gives consistent relief for 24 hours. So your symptoms don't come back. New 24-hour Epidac keeps cold symptoms from coming back.
Is Herman incurably romantic or just incurably weird?
Women make your life a living hell. Then you die 6 to 8 years before they do.
Evening shade. Then the family frog croaks.
Kelly, come on, you're a doctor.
I'm a plastic surgeon, Beth. You want me to do his eyes?
Dave's World after Evening Shade, Monday.
Can't you pump his little froggy arms?
Will this kid like the new nanny?
Do you have a pen? I hate her.
Let's not be hasty.
Yeah, I haven't even sung Climb Every Mountain yet.
The Nanny premieres Wednesday, November 3rd.
It was a slumber party that turned into a nightmare, ending with a crime so brazen, a horrified community is holding its breath until one little girl is found. The question tonight, where is Polly Klaas?
Her name is Polly, and that's spelled P-O-L-L-Y.
And there's Polly?
And she has beautiful, curly, chestnut brown hair with gold highlights from the sun.
Almost 12, right?
She has a very special quality about her she's always noticed.
Fear has come to the all-American town of Petaluma, California.
Kind of sweep the whole area like that.
Yeah, she just was like the most popular kid in my class, and everybody just adores Polly.
Everyone is worried about 12-year-old Polly Klaas, kidnapped at knife point from her own home while her two friends watched and her mother slept.
I told them they had to go to sleep at 11 o'clock, and that's that.
Then Polly said that she wanted to go out into the living room so we could set up our sleeping bags or something.
Polly's two best friends, Kate and Jillian.
And when she opened the door, there was just a man standing there with a knife. He told us that if we said anything, he'd slit our throats. So he left the room with Polly and never came back.
Taken from a house full of people.
Full of people.
Just absolutely spirited away.
Mark Klaas and Eve Nickel are Polly's parents.
Incredible.
I mean, our lights were on. The kids are sitting in the bedroom playing a board game.
He said he wanted valuables. He took the most valuable thing there was. and that's all he took.
But now this town is faced with its first kidnapping of this kind.
Hello, good morning, I'm with the FBI. Yes.
An extraordinary crime in a town where most people don't even lock their doors.
We suspect that he either went through an unlocked window or possibly one of the doors was left unlocked.
This morning we'll hear something. I hope so.
Healdsburg to Calistoga area.
It's just a very emotional thing that's happened here. God knows I wouldn't want it to happen to me.
Hours after hearing about the kidnapping, hundreds of volunteers filled a storefront office, a grassroots effort that resembles a campaign headquarters.
The heart of this city is on fire with a love for this child, and they want her back.
People like Bill Rhodes, who pulled the town together.
Good morning. I can't tell you why it's doing what it's doing. I don't have a PhD in poly. Maybe people are sick and tired of this kind of stuff.
There's this outpouring of love that I've never experienced, and it's carrying me through.
More than $10,000 raised at one pancake breakfast.
Thank you. Well, I know that. Thank you so much. I mean, this is a miracle. We're right in the middle of a miracle here.
Mark and Eve are divorced, but they're united in finding their daughter.
My God, she's not here. I miss her so much.
See her pretty little face and hear her pretty little voice.
This is Polly's favorite color, I understand.
You see, the kidnapper didn't just take Polly. He took something more from Petaluma.
It's morning again in America.
It wasn't supposed to happen here. Not in a town that Ronald Reagan used in commercials to remind America everything was okay. If you're not safe in Petaluma, then where?
It really is an eye-opener for a lot of people, you know.
2, 3. Hello, I'm Winona Ryder, and recently in my hometown of Petaluma, California,
Actress Winona Ryder has offered a $200,000 reward. Her hometown connection to Polly runs deep.
Perfect. We had a lot in common, and she went to my school and she wanted to be an actress, and you know, I just felt like I felt drawn to come and try to help.
I think I have a very important need here.
The reward helps. Thousands of tips are checked, but the more time that passes, the more frustration grows.
No room for error.
You can always listen to Mozart.
It doesn't matter how long Polly has been missing. People here won't give up.
It's just a matter of time before she comes walking in that door and fires all of us. That's what we're hoping for.
If you see anything at all, don't pick it up.
This is more than just a search for a missing little girl. It's a town searching for innocence lost.
It struck a chord in everyone that this unthinkable thing happened in this beautiful, wonderful community. Take a good look at both the composite drawing and at Polly, and then take a good look around you.
More than 4 million flyers with Polly's picture have been circulated throughout the country. And just today, police released a brand new composite sketch of the suspect they hope will lead to new information in the search for Polly. Next, Dan Patterson claims his new female boss was interested in more than his job performance. But when he took her to court, he was in for a shock.
I think it's society's unwritten rule or expectation that men should enjoy sex, be available for sex, tease about sex at all times.
And still ahead, they laughed at Rudy, but they couldn't stop him.
Would you describe yourself as a, how do I say this? Pain in the butt?
Yeah.
The Power of Gold by Eureka. New Powerline and Powerline Plus. 9 big amps here. 10 amps and a hard body here. Attachments on board to clean anywhere. Traps 99% of the dirt. Powerline and Powerline Plus. Only by Eureka.
Some credit cards charge fat interest rates, but not Discover cards.
With Smart Rate, the more you use your Discover card for purchases, the lower your interest rate can be. Now as low as 14.9%. It pays to Discover.
Here you go. Try this. It's a new cereal.
Ooh, granola.
No, it's new. It's granola.
Great crunchy granola.
Mom, it's more than granola. It's granola with a B, like your name.
Ah, but that taste, those crunchy golden clusters baked with a touch of honey. And look, raisins.
It's got fiber from bran.
Oh, I get it. Bran granola. Branola. With a B. Like my name. Bob.
New low-fat post granola cereal. Original or with raisins. More than granola. Branola.
New Clorox Toilet Cleanser has bleach and abrasives to help make stains disappear.
Eye to Eye with Connie Chung will continue. If you think you've heard all there is to hear about bad cops, you haven't. Until the worst of the lot sits down with Mike Wallace, Sunday on 60 Minutes.
A carjacker forces a deadly confrontation.
I will not call it self-defense.
In a shocking season premiere, Emmy winners Tom Skerritt and Kathy Baker return in the Emmy-winning Best Dramatic Series. CBS invites you to experience television's best. Picket Fences, coming Fridays.
This is CBS.
Announcing a sale so big, you'll wonder how we managed to pull it off. Carson's two-day sale, this Friday and Saturday. Stores open at 9 a.m. At Carson's, you come to the right place.
There's a lot about the new Galant that you may not know. Like being first in its class with dual airbags, standard. In fact, after Automobile Magazine scrutinized the all-new Galant, it said it may be the most car per dollar in its class. A class, we might add, that includes Accord and Camry. The all-new 1994 Mitsubishi Galant. Lease a new Galant S now for just $1,000 down and $199 a month.
The Channel 2 Health Team. Doctors on call, only on Channel 2 News.
Is it harmless or is it sexual harassment? Yesterday, a Nashville woman took her case before the U.S. Supreme Court, charging that her former boss was so offensive she was forced to quit her job. With more and more female bosses in the workplace, sexual harassment is becoming a two-way street. But even though 40% of the women who file cases eventually win them, fewer than 1% of the men who complain even take their cases to court. Bernard Goldberg met a man who says he found out the hard way why so few men take action.
Seattle is one of those picture postcard cities that gives urban America a good name. It's the kind of place you love to brag about. And in a way, that was Dan Patterson's job. For more than a dozen years, he was on the city payroll, making videos, telling the world what a wonderful place Seattle is.
Come tour the Skagit this summer and discover the source of Seattle's power.
He won awards for his work. He got promotions, and everything was going just fine until the late 1980s, when Dan Patterson got a new boss, a woman. And that's when he says it all started.
Every time I pass her in the hall, she'd grab my pants fabrics or check my shirt labels or say, oh, that feels nice, or something. I was at her desk one time, and we were talking, and I turned to leave, and she asked me to come back, and asked me to come over by her window next to her chair, and I walked over there, and she said, you have dark blue underpants on, don't you, Dan? I was helping her rearrange her work area, her space, and I had borrowed a tape measure. I finished and said I was going to take it back, and she said, no, there's, something else that can be measured.
What did you think she meant?
I took it that she wanted me to measure my own penis. I was at her desk, and she wanted to show me a scar. And she lowered her skirt and pulled her bandages off and pulled her skirt further down to reveal her pubic hair.
In the office?
Oh yeah, at her desk. She frequently told dirty jokes in the office. Fellatio jokes were one of her favorites.
You're painting a picture of a sexual playroom there. I mean, she's commenting on your underwear.
It pretty much was. It pretty much was.
Patterson filed a complaint with the city, a sexual harassment complaint. Later, he would file a lawsuit against the city. He thought he was on solid ground because, like everyone else around here, he saw Seattle as a modern, progressive city that would never tolerate sexual harassment.
She's picking lint off your pants, your backside?
Right. Asking me to lick things off her face at a pen mark, actually.
So, what did city officials here in Seattle do when they heard about those allegations of sexual harassment? Well, they launched an investigation, which said while some of the charges could not be confirmed, others were absolutely true. So did they fire the offending supervisor? Did they punish her in any way? No, they took her side, and they've been fighting Dan Patterson ever since.
Dan Patterson says that he was a victim of sexual harassment here in the city of Seattle. What do you say?
Well, he was not.
Bob Williams is an assistant city attorney who defended Seattle against Patterson's accusation.
It was a case of a person who was, Mr. Patterson was very insecure. He resented his supervisor.
Are you saying, by the way, that he didn't like working for a woman? Do you think that's part of it?
I think that that might be a part of it.
So is, I hate to use the word, but is he a liar?
Well, it depends on how you define liar. He wasn't telling the truth.
But Dan Patterson says he was telling the truth, and every time he felt his supervisor went too far, over a 3-year period, he made a note in a computer logbook.
I was sitting at her desk for a meeting one time asking me if I noticed her earrings, and I said, yeah, they're nice. And she said, you notice any difference between the two of them? And I said, no, I don't. And she said, well, come a little closer. And I said, yeah, the one on the left has something sticking out from it, I guess. And she said, that's a penis, Dan. This earring has a penis on it. This one's a woman, but this one's a boy.
And what about that confidential investigation the city conducted? Eye to Eye has obtained a copy of it. The report found that overall the evidence was inconclusive, but listen to part of what it says. There is evidence to suggest sexual harassment which the department cannot deny. And there's this. The other incidents in which you refer to Dan's body in a sexual way have been confirmed and may indicate isolated incidents of sexually oriented behavior. And this. The fact that there's a general presence of sexual remarks, jokes, teasing, and sexually oriented materials cannot be denied and can only serve to support Dan's claims of harassment.
Well, I think basically that statement is true. I mean, there was a lot of kidding around in this particular office. Everybody knew each other, had known each other for a long time, and there were.
With it?
Well, certainly I have, as I indicated, we don't condone inappropriate conduct.
Of course, but with all due respect, you do condone it because you can't name one action that you took against that supervisor. One thing. I'm all ears.
After the investigation was completed and the decision was made that it was not sex harassment, we nevertheless told her that her conduct was in bad taste.
Did you suspend her?
Huh?
Did you suspend her for a week, for 2 weeks, for 10 minutes, anything like that?
No.
Nothing.
No.
And when the case got to court, Dan Patterson lost. The jury decided that his supervisor, a woman named Deanne Mount, did not sexually harass him.
Would you please raise your right hand and be sworn?
But what about the city's own investigation, which indicated there was evidence of sexual harassment? Reports like that are considered second-hand information, hearsay, and are not considered evidence.
So,
The jury never saw this report.
Lee Heron is a private investigator in Seattle who was hired by Patterson after he lost. She interviewed all the jurors and read them excerpts from the city's report.
During the jury poll, conducted 2 years later, they were privy to most of the comments in here.
You read this stuff?
Yes, I read verbatim excerpts from this.
And?
And 2/3 of them said that they would have changed their minds had they had access to this report during the trial.
Which means Dan Patterson would have won the case.
That's correct.
But report or no report, City Attorney Williams says Dan Patterson lost because the jury thought he made up part of his story and exaggerated about the rest.
I don't believe it, and I don't think anybody else believed it. Even the two jurors who found in his favor, I don't think they believed it.
Well, we found those two jurors, Brian Hammer and Carol Ellingson.
Did the jurors believe what he was saying?
Yeah, they believe that the incidents happened, yeah.
Did anybody in that jury room ever say, this guy's a liar?
Not to my recollection, no.
I think he was taken fairly seriously, and he was credible.
He was credible.
So why did Dan Patterson lose if the jurors believed his story?
There are people that were saying that he was too thin-skinned, that he shouldn't be awarded anything for sexual harassment because it was just too minor to be considered.
Did you ever say to her in so many words, look, knock this sexual stuff off?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one time I said, I don't dislike you, Deanne. I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but you have to stop screwing up my life at work. You just have to stop. And she just stared at me, didn't say anything. Who's your friend at preschool?
In the end, Dan Patterson's problem may have been one he could not overcome no matter what. The fact that he was a man complaining about sexual shenanigans from a woman.
While women are still given a difficult time or a hard time in raising complaints, men tend to be laughed out of the room.
Susan Webb is a management consultant based in Seattle who is an expert in sex harassment cases.
I think it's society's unwritten rule or expectation that men should enjoy sex, be available for sex, tease about sex at all times.
Yet, tell me if I'm wrong, but there seems to be a feeling that when he does complain,
there's something wrong with him.
Imagine, if you will, if a male supervisor came in with an earring in his left ear of a female breast, leaned over the table of a female supervisor and asked her to comment on it. Would anybody in their right mind not constitute that sexual harassment or lewd and inappropriate behavior?
you know, if I just read your complaint without seeing names, it looks like 1,000 other complaints that one sees filed by women against male bosses.
I agree.
So does Dan's wife, Deborah.
If it was judged strictly on its merits, and since the jurors told us afterwards when we polled them that we were the believable parties, I think we would have prevailed.
You're suggesting that you didn't because he's a man.
Yes.
The woman at the center of the whole case, Deanne Mount, refused to be interviewed by Eye to Eye. But during the trial, she denied many of the incidents and said she couldn't remember others. All she would say to us on the phone was that Dan Patterson, who no longer works for the city and is appealing the case, has become obsessed.
I prefer the word committed. Culturally, it's just strongly ingrained that sexual harassment happens to females, but it wasn't until I understood that sexual harassment is simply the abuse of power. It's not about sex. And my feeling was it didn't matter what the behavior was. It was clearly inappropriate in the workplace. I asked her to stop. I filed a complaint about it, and I lost my job for doing that. And something's wrong with that.
Dan Patterson has already lost one appeal of the court decision, but the city did offer him another job, and he took it. 3 months later, his old boss turned up in his building on a different floor. Dan said even that was too much, and he refused to report to work. The city fired him. He's appealing the latest dismissal and asking for a transfer. When we come back, they told Rudy he'd never make it, but that's what they told Rocky.
This fire was.
Everyone knows Duracell batteries last a real long time, but why? Hey, Kristen, does that science course teach you why these batteries last so long? Never mind. My wife's big in these consumerist issues. Hey, honey, these Duracell... Yeah. Not the right time. Oh, there's a clue. Hey, TJ. What? Too young. think I'll go on a little quest. Find out why these Duracell batteries last so long, even if it takes me to the end of the block. Oh, my know-it-all neighbor, Jerry. Hey, Jer!
Duracell, no other battery lasts longer.
And I'm going to find out why. How about that flashlight you got in your hip back there? Is that a pretty important piece of equipment to you?
Yeah, it is. It's my eyeballs when the rest of the boat's shut off.
Oh, yeah. What kind of batteries you got in there?
Duracell.
Yeah, there they are. Any reason for picking Duracell?
They last longer.
And you're sure about that, huh?
I'm positive.
That's a piece of old lore that was passed along to you by some ancient tugboat captain?
No, that's personal experience.
Personal experience only. It's kind of like the old Bermuda Triangle.
Duracell, no other battery lasts longer.
One of the mysteries of the sea.
Your back works hard all day. You need Sealy Posturepedic support all night. Sealy's Sense and Respond support system has patented coils. Unlike other premium coils, Sealy's gives easily at first for comfort. Then, as weight increases, it responds with increasing support, correct support. And only Sealy Posturepedic has this steel span foundation with steel beams, not wood. Posturepedic support, only from Sealy.
Some deep down greasy stains are just too scary for detergents alone. But here's a stain remover that won't run from a really tough stain. New Shout Gel with the built-in brush. It's concentrated power that stays where you put it and works deep into fibers to shout out greasy stains. Too scary for detergents alone. Want a tough stain out? Shout it out with New Shout Gel from SC Johnson Wax.
Everyone loves to root for an underdog, but no one likes a hero more than Hollywood. Stallone's 5 Rocky movies have grossed $1 billion worldwide. Now they're betting on another guy who made miracles happen by refusing to give up his dream. Russ Mitchell has his story. Russ?
Connie, this is a guy who used to be a car salesman. He was an insurance salesman. He sold real estate at one time. He also owned his own janitorial service. Now he's up on the big screen. But unlike Rocky, Rudy is real.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The story begins here, Joliet, Illinois, home to Jake of the Blues Brothers, the Illinois State Penitentiary, and the Rudigers.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Betty.
The Rudigers lived here with their 14 children. Good working folks, believers in God, country, and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
At halftime, can we watch some of the Indiana-Purdue game?
There's only one team we watch in this house.
Right.
Notre Dame was like a religion. I mean, you go to church on Sunday, and the father gives a Notre Dame score.
Little Danny Rudiger, Rudy to his friends, was your average kid, if not exactly appreciated for his athletic prowess.
What a spaz.
Still, Rudy had a dream.
After high school, I'm going to play football at Notre Dame.
You're going to play football at Notre Dame?
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy a mansion on Lakeshore Drive.
In high school, Rudy was a small but accomplished athlete. But in the classroom, let's just say Rudy wasn't exactly college material.
Mr. Rudiger, would you be interested in joining us?
Study? I daydreamed.
After a hitch in the Navy, Rudy joined a long line of Rudigers at the local power plant.
It was a secure living. It was safe.
But Rudy still harbored dreams of life beneath the famous Golden Dome. It took the death of a close friend to propel him toward his goal.
That's when I realized life is short. It ends that quick. A light lit up in my brain. Rudy, go for it. Don't worry about what other people think.
Notre Dame is for rich kids, smart kids, great athletes. It's not for us.
Okay, Mr. Rudy. Here's the deal. Holy Cross Junior College is nearby. I can get you 1 semester there. You make grades, you get another semester. Then maybe with a high enough GPA, you might have a chance of getting into Notre Dame.
I'm here to play football for the Irish.
Coach Parsegian know about it?
No, not yet.
Somehow or other, Rudy got by my secretary.
Legendary Notre Dame coach Era Parsegian.
He wasn't a student. I mean, that's the thing that shocked me. I think I had a response. You're what?
Did you think he was nuts?
No, I consider him quite ambitious, I'll say that.
Dear Mr. Rudiger, but Rudy's ambition sometimes outpaced his achievements. He was turned down as a student by Notre Dame 3 times. He often sought solace at the spiritual center of the Notre Dame campus, the Grotto. How important was this place during your early days in South Bend?
Very important, mainly because it gave me that real resolution of who I was.
Finally, Rudy's prayers were answered. He was accepted at Notre Dame, a college junior at the age of 25.
I cried, I was happy. When I got accepted, my whole life came together. Because I've done something people said I could never do, was to go to Notre Dame.
It also meant something else.
I could go play football now.
Rudy earned a spot not on the varsity, but on the Notre Dame practice squad.
Come on, Coach, I can do it! Oh, yeah? Yeah, all right.
A 5-foot, 6-inch, 165-pound human tackling dummy.
Most of the guys who were scratching their heads, who is this guy?
All-American Willie Fry was the team's captain.
The thought which occurred to me was, I hope he's got good medical insurance.
He knocked me from one end Cartier field to the other.
It took a real battering.
And I would get back up and let him hit me again.
He never once complained or whined about it.
Anybody that would take that kind of punishment had to have some kind of heart in here.
But Rudy's ultimate goal wasn't to practice, he wanted to play. To suit up with the varsity for one game and run onto the field at Notre Dame Stadium. Finally, at the urging of teammates and assistant coaches, new coach Dan Devine gave Rudy a jersey for the final game of his senior year. The hard-nosed practice player, number 45, led the team on the field. What was it like for you coming out?
Come out of that tunnel. I think that was the biggest thrill, to be honest. To walk out of that tunnel with your gold helmet and to feel the excitement of the crowd. It's a natural high.
With the game well in hand late in the fourth quarter, teammates began a chant that spread throughout the stadium.
Then the student body start going, Rudy, and the team start going, Rudy.
They wanted to see him play.
The coaches are panicking, and they're yelling at Coach Devine, get the kid in the game.
And finally, Coach Devine put him in the game.
And the announcer says, now in the game for the Fighting Irish, Rudy Rudiger.
And he ran on the field, just uncontrollably.
Your adrenaline's flowing, and you're saying, man, I got a shot to get a tackle here.
Yeah. I hoped he wouldn't hit me. But he was on his team. I was on his team.
5 seconds left in the game now. I really feel good about getting this tackle. And I watched the ball being snapped. As the ball moved, I moved.
Rudy somehow breaks free at the line of scrimmage and draws a line on the quarterback.
And I juke to the left and cut knife right to the right.
And he sacks the quarterback.
And I grabbed him, put him into the ground, and I'm going, got it! You know, I'm yelling at him.
The stadium goes crazy. The players are delirious.
Next thing you know, you're on your teammates' shoulders being carried out.
You're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed because of the spirit of it. And that was probably one of the greatest rides of my life. Here I am leading the team out of the tunnel.
Mementos of that ride share space with other Notre Dame artifacts in the basement of Rudy's South Bend condo.
We got some great people here. There's myself.
Right in the middle.
And there's Joe Montana.
You've got a Notre Dame shrine.
Thank you.
Down here. In fact, Rudy may have the definitive Notre Dame collection.
And these are Ara Parseghian's shoes when he coached here.
Then explain to me why that's important.
I don't know. Wouldn't you like to have Ara Parseghian's shoes?
Not really. Nothing personally against Ara. I think he's a great guy, but I don't want his shoes in my living room. When the cheers ended, Rudy was just getting warmed up. It wasn't enough to tackle the rough and tumble world of Notre Dame football. No, he wanted more. So he went long to Hollywood.
I get the opportunity to talk to Angelo Pizzo on the telephone.
And I said, that's a great story.
I said, well, what do you think? Will you do it? He says, no.
I'm not interested.
I will not do another Indiana sports story. And frankly, Rudy, I hate Notre Dame.
That other Indiana sports movie, written by screenwriter Angelo Pizzo and directed by David Unspaugh, was the highly acclaimed Hoosiers. Rudy would put his story in the hands of no one else.
He called me and said he was flying out to California and he wanted to meet me.
I go out there, he tells me, meet me at Louise's restaurant.
I frankly forgot.
2 hours. No Angelo. I am not going to call Angelo Pizzo. I'm going to go find him.
And the next thing I know is Rudy is pounding on my door.
I said, Angelo, Rudy.
And you're late for lunch.
I said, Rudy, you're true to form.
To quote another sports legend, it was deja vu all over again. Rudy the legend is now Rudy the movie. Are you surprised that Rudy talked Hollywood into making a movie about his life?
I am not the least bit surprised. He's like a crab. Once he latches on, he doesn't let go.
Would you describe yourself as a, how do I say this, pain in the butt?
Yeah, the fact that this movie is coming out is a tribute to him again.
What's he going to do next?
Pick up the royalties.
So the one-time human tackling dummy is now the toast of South Bend, where the movie premiered last week. Lights, cameras.
This fire watch.
What do you think Rudy's story says to the rest of the world?
Don't give up. If you have a goal, it can be achieved.
It's okay to dream. It's okay to stay true to a dream. It's important to be committed. And if you work hard enough and you do dream, you just might be surprised. They sometimes come true.
What does it feel like to be the big man on camera?
Our problem is we dream too small sometimes. We don't dream big enough because we're afraid to dream.
This is great. So what's Rudy doing now?
Right now, he's out hyping the movie as only he can. The movie's out in a few cities right now. It'll be out across the country next week. After that, he wants to hit the lecture circuit as a motivational speaker. And, believe this or not, he's got another idea for Hollywood.
Don't tell me Rudy too.
That would be my guess.
Okay. Thank you, Russ. We'll be right back.
A grapefruit drink that's actually sweet? Yep. Ocean Spray Ruby Red grapefruit juice drink. It's got a sweet taste that's really different. Say this is grapefruit juice. This is Ruby Red. Grapefruit juice? Ruby Red. Yeah, it's got a surprisingly sweet taste your whole family will love. It's sweet. Ocean Spray Ruby Red grapefruit juice drink. The surprisingly sweet taste of Ruby Red. Now in 64-ounce family size.
Sprint is the only global phone company with local, long distance, and cellular. So whether you're calling around the world or around the corner, with Sprint, you could be there now. So whoever said the world doesn't revolve around you, obviously didn't have Sprint.
Little Caesar's Chaser Cheeser is back.
I just want to freshen up my lipstick. Is it on straight?
2 pizzas, choice of 2 toppings, and free Crazy Bread, $7.99.
Pizza.
Cheese is great when it stands alone. But want some new ideas? Make a double cheese and ham sandwich, a tasty Colby and Munster Club, or a mouth-watering mozzarella sub. Look for great savings on cheese at this special cheese display in your store today.
To get rid of stains on your carpet, even old stains, you can get creative, or you can get scientific with Carpet Science. Carpet Science is a unique emulsion cleaning formula that gets out old stains like red wine, mud, coffee, even spaghetti sauce. Getting rid of old stains? Hey, it's not rocket science, it's Carpet Science. Now available in foam for cleaning your whole room. From S.C. Johnson Wax.
A caring policewoman uncovers the mystery of an abandoned little boy.
This is the worst level of abuse I've ever seen.
A powerful special episode.
What did we do to you?
Top Cops, next.
Bosnia, CBS reported on a family separated by war, their home destroyed.
This is just one image that stuck with me. I just knew that I had to do something.
Touched by our story, David Sager arranged to bring the reunited family to a safe new home in America. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung team to cover your world.
Next week, look for us on Monday night when we'll have a special edition of Eye to Eye. We'll report on the latest in college sex, a campus where you have to ask permission every step of the way.
He's supposed to ask, can I touch your left breast or your right breast?
And she says, yes, you may. You find this ridiculous.
Yes.
And if you think Susan Powder, America's new fitness queen, looks outrageous, wait till you meet her.
I tried every diet on earth. I sucked kelp. I drank cider vinegar. Did you not? You've done it too. Maybe it took a bold woman to get up there and start screaming it from a mountaintop. Okay.
That's a special edition of Eye to Eye, Monday at 10, 9 Central. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night with Dan Rather on the CBS Evening News. Good night, everyone.
A startling proposal heads for New Orleans. A hard-fought contract is Chicago-bound. 3 sets of contact lenses are expected in Tampa by tomorrow morning. Express mail from the Postal Service will get them there, overnight, guaranteed, from just $9.95. Every day, overnight, we deliver for you.
There are lots of credit cards, but only one offers Smart Rate. Now as low as 14.9%. The name of the card? Discover Card. It pays to discover.
Behind every new Mazda truck is an unsurpassed 50,000-mile, 3-year basic warranty. And behind that, who knows?
What's the latest in college sex? How about having to ask permission every step of the way? Also, are you over the hill at 40? Wait till you hear what these men say happened to them.
Age and money, that's all it is.
And meet Susan Powder, from overweight housewife to powerhouse.
A special Eye to Eye with Connie Chung Monday.
Smoking. One woman refused to quit. Now she's paying a big price. This is Jay Levine. Tonight we'll tell you how a smoking habit cost one woman her only son. On Channel 2 News at 10.
For a transcript of this program, send $5 to Eye Transcripts, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-TEXT. To order a VHS cassette of tonight's broadcast, call 1-800-762-9990.
Experience CBS News.
Tonight, David Brenner, Gloria Estefan, and Dr. Sean Young.
It's Dave Day. That means banks and post offices are closed.
This is CBS.
Tonight on Channel 2 News at 10.
A one-man shooting spree leaves 5 people...